Today I'm talking to Virginie le Brun, who is the Domestic and International Sales Director of No1 Family based in Marlborough. Congratulations, Virginie, on getting a place in our top wineries list.
It's wonderful. It's truly great. Wonderful to be there. Thank you for having us as part of that.
Winemaking is a family affair at No1 Family, with founders Adele and Daniel Le Brun, helped by their daughter Virginie and son Remy. What's it like having your family around you during the working week?
Excellent question, Bob.
Well, you're in Christchurch at the moment, so
for the most part, it is wonderful. It is truly wonderful and incredibly meaningful that we are all in it really together. It's amazing, and continuing that legacy. Absolutely, there are times when, we flip from being people in the business to being mother and daughter, or father and daughter, etc., sister and brother. But I'm sure it's highly entertaining for everybody else in the business. But no, for us, it of course it will come always with its challenges. But for the most part, it just adds to the significance and the gravitas and the sense of purpose for what you're doing. It's not just. It is incredibly meaningful for us, and that really that gives you an incredible energy that I don't think you would otherwise really have. Certainly has for me anyway. Coming back into the business, comparing it to how the other things that I've done in my life, how they energize you differently, and a family business is. Yeah, I haven't quite got the words to describe it yet, I don't think.
Ownership attitude.
Yes, it's one of them.
It's a great motivator. Now, I'm going to ask you about your drinking habits. Do you drink Methode or champagne on a regular basis, or just on special occasions like the rest of us?
Well, no, on a regular basis. As like for example, when we go and visit family in Champagne, it's quite common that you would start a meal with bubbles before, with something to eat, something light before a meal, and then you have a glass of bubbles, or in the case when we're in France, champagne, we'll have that before. It's quite frequent, and I think Kiwis, we're getting that way a little bit. It's certainly common in Europe, as I said. It's very common in France. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a special occasion, it's just another style of wine. And and it's a lovely way to not just to start a meal, but to begin an evening, or something to enjoy with a friend after work or family, etc. But yeah.
Champagne sales have apparently rocketed with COVID. I'm not entirely sure why, but has it impacted on your sales? Good or bad?
And we are incredibly fortunate. It has impacted on us in a very positive way. So I think people are also drinking. They might not necessarily be drinking more, but I think they are drinking higher end, if you will. So they're wanting to really make sure what they are having is of a very good quality, and that's wonderful to see. So yeah, in terms of sales, it has translated, fortunately for us, very well.
Well done. Do you export at all, or is it just domestic?
Yes, we do. Currently, we export to the UK, to Australia, to Japan, to the States is a very big market for us, to Germany, and I'm sure there's some others that I've left off, but off the top of my head, those are the ones I can think of. But yeah, and domestically, the sales have been incredible as well. I really love the fact that people are wanting to support in a more parochial way, so support the domestic market, and opening up to the idea that actually New Zealand makes incredible Methode. We're very, very fortunate in that regard. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to argue about that, because I'm a big fan of the rosé as well. In fact, of all of your wines, I have to say. Have you got any recommended food matches for the rosé, or just generally for sparkling wine?
Sparkling wine in general, It sounds so. I don't know. I guess people think of it as lowbrow when I say it. Well, they think I'm joking. But when I would say something like fish and chips, believe it or not, of course, things like oysters, something wonderful and fresh. Meats can also actually go quite well with the rosé, like sort of beef carpaccio and things like that. But for sparkling in general, one of the wonderful go-tos and is of course fish and chips or anything fried and methode. And I describe it to people, as of course you know well know, Bob, that it's to have something that goes against those flavors that you are eating, to essentially clean the palate. So the acidity in a methode or in a champagne will clean the palate of the fat that you're having with say chips, fish and chips, even fried chicken, for example, is another. Deep fried chicken. It's amazing, very naughty, but it goes very, very well that way. And people do sort of think I'm joking when I say that, of course, but and I can understand it. But to really back the point up and to show this is a genuine match, what I'll say is shortly before I arrived in London, there was a pop-up in Covent Garden that I just missed, but I heard a lot about. And the pop-up sold just two things. And those two things were Krug champagne and chips and nothing else. Now, if a champagne house like Krug is quite happy to have a pop-up selling their wine and pairing it with only one other thing, surely that speaks volumes in itself. So if the Champenoise and indeed Big House Champagne are prepared to put something like that forward, I can do so with every confidence myself that they do make a great pairing. So I recommend to people, next time you get fish and chips, grab a bottle of methode, grab some No. 1 or some champagne or whatever you feel like that night, and you will not be disappointed.
You know, I've never had champagne or methode with fish and chips, and I'm going
No,
at the first
really?
opportunity I'm going to try them now.
There you go. I love it, Bob. I feel like you've taught me, of course, many things as when I've been in your classes. Once in my life, I'll enjoy this moment. I taught Bob something. That cheeky of me.
Thank you
student.
for that. Yeah, Virginie, I think we're going to have to wrap it up now. But thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me, and congratulations once again for getting in the top wineries list. That's great, and perhaps I'll see you in October at the exhibition in Auckland.
I certainly hope so. That would be wonderful. Look forward to catching up then.